You're sounding there. You're telling me that since this attack happened 3 days ago, no one from the center has communicated to the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir anything about this investigation, even though the primary accused are residents of the Kashmir Valley?
No, I haven't heard from anybody. And this is the problem with the
I just
system
want to
of
know.
governance that we have in Jammu and Kashmir. This is why I've always said that this system of governance does not work. When you put things into silos, you pigeonhole information. The elected government is kept completely out of the purview of any security related decisions. And then we are the ones who are left answering the questions as to why something has happened and why something hasn't happened and why radicalization is taking place and why white collar terrorism is visible again. I mean, if you're going to continue to operate in isolation, then I'm sorry, we're not the ones who are answerable for what happens then.
And you know that this will only push the demand for statehood even further back, because the center is now going to say that, look, Kashmir remains the hotbed for terror, and therefore we need extra vigilance, extra control, extra central control.
I'm not getting into that conversation today. Today is not the time, and I mean, it would take me 30 seconds to turn that argument completely on its head, but I'm not going to do that on your channel.
But what I do want to ask you, the radicalization of terror, what are the root causes according to you? The fact that these young men, even as you insist they are a minority, what explains the fact that Kashmiri young men who are trained doctors have turned to terror? What are the roots of this radicalization? Does it lie in religion? Does it lie in the activities of groups like the Jaish-e-Mohammed, a certain pan-Islamic radicalism? Where does it lie?
I have no idea. I don't know. Different people get radicalized for different reasons. Some people get radicalized because they believe the government has treated them unfairly. Some people get radicalized because of religious indoctrination. Some people look at the political sort of future that they want Jammu and Kashmir to have and get radicalized accordingly. I don't know what was the root cause for the radicalization of the people involved in this attack. I guess that's something that the investigative agencies will have to arrive at. But I just want to make the point that the entire Jammu and Kashmir and the entire Kashmir community is not radicalized. And when you have orders like you saw in Gurgaon the other day, asking for all Kashmiri Muslims to be identified. And I know this is happening in education institutions in cities like Gurgaon. They are being asked to provide lists of Kashmiri Muslim teachers engaged in academic institutions in places like Gurgaon and all. You're effectively saying, and the order said Kashmiri Muslims and foreigners. So you're effectively saying that Kashmiri Muslims and foreigners are one and the same thing and have to be treated accordingly. This is where I'm saying you need to be very careful. Not all Kashmiri Muslims are radicalized, and certainly not all Kashmiri Muslims are supporters of terror.
Will all the Kashmiri Muslims then come out with the same vigor that they came out after Pahalgam and said enough is enough?
Why do we have to prove our nationality to you? Why do we have to prove our patriotism to you? Isn't it enough that I am saying it on behalf of the people of Jammu and Kashmir? Where else have people come out? I mean, it's always the Kashmiris and then the Indian Muslims have to come out. I mean, today you have 5 intellectuals who felt the need to condemn this attack and to make it known that Indian Muslims are not with terrorist organizations. I haven't seen anybody else come out and do this. It's always the Kashmiri Muslim and then by extension the Indian Muslim that is held to a higher standard, that somehow we have to prove our patriotism, we have to prove that we're not with terror. For everybody else, you just assume it to be the case. Why don't you assume it in our case? Assume that we're not with terror unless we actually come out and say that we support incidents like this.
Omar Abdullah, as you know, because there is 30 years of history, a fraught history, where Kashmiris have also suffered at the hands of terror, and many believe that terror has been sponsored across the border. Now, that, in a sense, has led to prejudice, has led to this stereotyping. You give me a solution.
Well, I've given you the first solution. Stop treating all of us as suspects. Stop making all of us answerable for what Pakistan does. Stop Pakistan allowing to determine our future. You decide for us what is good for us. Let us
So,
decide what is good for us. Isn't it enough for you that 50 to 60% of the people come out and participate in elections? Doesn't that show you where they stand? I mean, do we have to come out and light a candle every time, unfortunately, somebody does something like this?
Omar
And,
Abdullah,
and sorry, Rajdeep,
this is,
let me
yes,
make
yes.
one wider point. Do you judge everybody from Jharkhand because of what the Naxalites did, or everyone from Chhattisgarh, or everyone from Assam because of what Ulfa did? No, you didn't ask them to rise to the same standards. Extend us the same courtesy as well, then, please.
I empathize with you, Omar Abdullah, but I'm just trying to. The average Indian today, when he sees what happened at the Red Fort, will in some way believe the worst in Kashmiri Muslims.
No, the
Please
average,
look
I'm
at it
sorry, Rajdeep,
from the
no.
point
The
of
average,
view.
the average Indian will not believe the worst of Kashmiri Muslims. The average Indian will watch channels like yours, and I guess yours are slightly better than some of the others, and will then frame their opinion. They will watch what is being said on Facebook. They will see government orders that are being issued, and will then form an opinion about Kashmiris. Otherwise, I'm sure
So what you're saying,
sensible Indians will understand that the majority of the people of Jammu and Kashmir do not support terror. But if channels are going to villainize and demonize Kashmiris for having no part in this whatsoever, then obviously you're framing an opinion against the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and particularly against Kashmiri Muslims.
so your message is loud and clear. Give exemplary punishment to those responsible for it, but for God's sake, do not demonize or villainize every Kashmiri Muslim. They reject these forces of terror, and they cannot be stereotyped and labeled in a manner, because that, in a sense, only breeds further anger. Am I correct?
Absolutely. In a nutshell, that's it.
Okay. In a nutshell, Omar Abdullah, for joining me here and breaking your silence and once again speaking from your heart. I appreciate the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Shocking to learn that you have not even been communicated with in the last 3 days, even though this has happened in Jammu and Kashmir. That's a huge revelation from the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you very much, Omar Abdullah, for joining me.